going down. More than 125,000 people in the United States have lost their lives, and those numbers and new infections continue to grow at an alarming rate. And once again, is confronting the simple fact that we won't be able to solve the economic crisis without a rigorous public health approach. They're not separable. Despite the administration's propaganda that their response should be a cause for celebration, despite President Trump's request that we should slow down testing because he thinks it makes him look bad, the COVID-19 is still here, and the daily threat to American health and prosperity is continuing. It didn't have to be this way. Month after month, as other leaders in other countries took the necessary steps to get the virus under control, Donald Trump failed us. Month after month, as many of us urged him to step up and do his job, he failed us. Just look at the record. In January, I, along with others, sounded the alarm over the coronavirus outbreak. Trump told the country that COVID-19 is, quote, totally under control, and that everything will, quote, work out well. In February, I warned about the failure to get information that we needed from the Chinese government. What I said was the president should demand Xi produce the evidence. Demand it. Trump said, quote, we're in great shape. Reported China's president said it was, quote, doing very well. In March, I set forth a detailed plan for 500 federally funded testing sites across the country, as well as guaranteed emergency paid leave. Later that month, I called for a full and immediate use of the Defense Production Act, critical for the delivery of supplies that were basically needed. Trump accused healthcare workers. How was his response? He accused health workers of stealing your masks. That's what he said. Healthcare workers are stealing the masks. That's why we don't have them. In April, I released a plan to secure the supply chain for personal protective equipment, surge nationwide testing through a pandemic testing board, and launch a nationwide health corps to focus on contact tracing. Trump's suggestions? Americans should inject disinfectants into their bodies. In May, I condemned the false choice between preserving public health and our economy. I urged the administration to focus on the basic public health measures like testing that would enable us to sustain our economic recovery. Trump's response? He pushed for reopening without regard to safety and called testing, quote, frankly, overrated. This month, I outlined a path to reopen our country safely and sustainably. It provided workers, small businesses, schools, state and local governments the tools, resources, and guidance that they would need. Trump's proposal? He set a cutoff date for federal funding of testing sites in several states and actually went to court to take away health care for 22 million people by trying to get rid of Obamacare. And now, Donald Trump is in retreat. Remember, back in March, when I called, and he called, we talked about the need to act like we were at war with the virus. He called himself a wartime president. Remember when he exhorted the nation to sacrifice together and, quote, in the face of this inevitable and invisible enemy. What happened? Now it's almost July, and it seems like our wartime president has surrendered, waved the white flag, and left the battlefield. Today we're facing a serious threat, and we have to meet it. We have to meet it as one country. But the president gives no direction, and he pits us against one another. We can't continue like this, half recovering and half getting worse. We can't continue half wearing masks and half rejecting science. We can't continue half with a plan and half just hoping for the best. You know, we won't defeat this virus with a piecemeal approach. lifting restrictions prematurely, increasing the volatility of the crisis, raising the likelihood of needing to reimpose restrictions. You know, until our science catches up to reality, until we have better treatment for those who become infected and ultimately are safe, proven, widely available vaccines, we have to continue to do all we can as the people and the government to keep our fellow Americans safe and healthy. Today, I'm releasing a plan for the steps I believe Donald Trump should undertake immediately to build on the roadmap I released back in March that would have saved lives if it had been adopted. It's a plan to save lives in the months ahead. But once again, I encourage him to adopt this plan in its entirety. This is too important for politics. First, testing, testing, testing. More testing is not only how you find more cases of coronavirus, Mr. President. It's how you stop the coronavirus cases. Testing followed by rigorous contact tracing, quarantine, and isolation protocols for those who've been exposed. People aren't waiting in lines for miles